EnterTalk Radio. You're in to all things music.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
For a song I just learned, I think, a couple minutes ago.
And for a bass I just picked up about 5 minutes ago, when I haven't played bass for a year, we're both pretty atrocious.
Right, yes, we are both equally as awful, and thank you for joining us for that wonderful awfulness. I'm Eric Lucero.
I'm Paul Berezetsky.
Of Sharpen the Axe on EnterTalk Radio, powered by Pitbull Audio, and we're stoked to bring you our holiday stocking stuffers episode. And has anything changed for your Christmas traditions? Any updates this year?
I'm a bah humbug kind of guy.
Yeah? Yeah,
I
same.
busted out the pretty little, gift wrap things for everything. That's about as...
Right, yeah.
That's my Christmas spirit.
Right, yeah. Both me and Paul are kind of like, yeah, Christmas, yay, kind of guys. So this is our effort. Hope you like it. But we've still managed to bring together a rad collection of gear for you guys to check out on Sharpen the Axe here. Do you have any Christmas gigs? Do you do any holiday kind of gigs?
I got offered one after a few days after Christmas, but I did a couple of years ago. I think I had a couple. But,
a couple of them,
yeah,
here or there.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I've never really done any kind of Christmas gigs. I don't know a single Christmas song. We were trying to figure one out, and we just.
I think I kind of pulled Jingle Bells out of my butt a little bit.
Yeah, we sounded, if you remember that scene in Nightmare Before Christmas where the Halloween Town band tries Christmas music, that's what we sounded like, just out of tune, terrible. Allman Brothers sounded like a much, much better option. Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, that was all right. It did well.
It's a very Allman Christmas.
It's a very Allman Christmas. Sounds good, sounds good. I guess we should introduce the people to what we got in our hands here to start with, right?
Yep.
So we'll start with that beautiful bass right there. That is a Sandberg. It is a German-made, it is the Music Man Stingray killer. It is awesome. It's a European ash body, maple neck and fretboard, 34-inch scale. It is a proprietary humbucker from Sandberg, and my favorite EQ preamp name ever. It's the Glocken. Oh man, god damn it. I had it down. It was the Glocken, damn it, Glocken something 3-band EQ. It's really, really a rad bass. It is active, and why don't you give us a little taste of what it sounds like? Nice. That for when you did play bass, did you ever play much active bass at all, or was it always passive?
Usually
bass, that
passive,
kind of
yeah.
thing? Yeah, right on.
Passive and usually 4-string. I'm very limited in my bass playing skills, as you could probably tell.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, though, the Sandbergs have always been well known in their existence as a great, great handmade company out of Germany.
Super cool looking.
Right? Yeah, and these.
I like this
that's their emblem right there, which they always do in that area, kind of above the neck on the top cutaway there. Mm-hmm. The little 4 dots, which I think is pretty cool, and they're mirrored as well. But they really, as I said, are the Stingray killer. That is a proprietary humbucker that is nice and loud. And why don't you give us a little bit of exaggeration on the EQ there, any of the treble, mid, or bass to see what it sounds like.
Which is which here?
Treble, front, middle, and then bass in the rear.
to middle. This is the mid. And bass boost. Nice.
It is a very, very killer bass, and I mean, these usually are $17.95. This is on sale right now at, I believe, 15% off. It is $15.25.75. That is a absolute steal for a Sandberg bass, and if you got someone in your life that's needing a very strong, very articulate 5-string bass in your life, this would be a great, great gift for them at a very unheard of price.
I don't know if they make stockings big enough to fit this in there.
You gotta find one. You gotta find one to fit it. That'll be very cool to see across the chimney on Christmas morning.
Just hanging down.
Actually, while we're on the stocking stuffer, I guess we should note that this is actually going direct. We're not playing it through an amp, and we can reveal the first right here of our stocking stuffers, the Radial Engineering Stage Bug SB2. It is a passive DI with the XLR output, 1/4-inch input and through if you still want to go to your amp as well, and a 15 decibel pad, which we have on since this is an active bass. But that is a $69.99 DI box. It'll fit in a guitar or bass case. Or
and it will fit in a stocking.
Absolutely, yes, that actually will fit in an actual stocking come Christmas morning. But it also fit in a gig bag as well to take with you. Now that is a D-profile neck on that Sandberg there on a 34-inch scale. How's that neck feel to you for a 5-string?
Really comfortable, yeah. For a 5-string, it's very, very easy to deal with.
Nice, nice. So you had not heard of Sandberg before?
I don't think so, no.
No? Right on there. Very killer company, and as I said, that's a steal of a price at $1525.75 for a 5-string bass.
Definitely got that German precision feel to it.
Crafted and engineered in Germany, absolutely.
Those guys don't take shortcuts.
No, they do not. Not at all. Now, you know what? Should we continue on some bass effects, or how do you feel?
Yeah, let's do it, sure.
Why not? Let's reveal a little bit of our stocking stuffers. We're actually going first, before going into the radial, into the Electro Harmonix bass clone.
All right.
So this is a $68 chorus pedal. The reason I brought this actually is I'm a huge Joy Division fan, and Peter Hook's chorus sound was a clone theory, I believe, from Electro Harmonix, and this is the bass-specific version of it. It's got controls for depth, rate, bass, and treble, and the crossover switch. What's kind of cool is the treble only affects the modulated signal. The bass only affects the dry signal. I'm sorry. The treble affects the modulated and dry signal, and this crossover switch cuts bass from the modulated signal to get some clarity. So let's hear the dry signal there. And let's set it with a medium depth and a slow rate, with bass and treble at noon. Increase the depth a little. Hear it, and let's go with the rate first. Go ahead.
Ah! I don't know what I'm doing on here.
Keep on going, it's all good.
I should have stuck to guitar.
It sounded like the beginning of a Video Killed the Radio Star a little bit, but on bass. I kind of liked it. How about you play something on the low notes here so we can hear the crossover switch and what it does. I'll raise the bass just to exaggerate it a bit. So this is actually rather versatile with the EQ differences between the bass and treble and the bass clone. And if you have that bassist wanting the Peter Hook, New Order, you know, sort of post-punk bass sound in their life, the bass clone for $68, I mean, that's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of chorus and bass? I love it.
That's a little bit tricky. In theory, yes, like kind of by itself, yes. In a band setting, you got to be careful. Generally, I tend to just kind of want like a nice clear low end.
Yeah.
But that's really speaks to the limitation of me as a bass player. If I could do some of this cool like, you know, like
yeah,
more
Victor Wooteney kind
the
of
Victor
stuff.
Wooteney kind of stuff. It's really great for that. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing with that, so I just don't know how to utilize it. When I hear it, I think it's super rad. But whatever bass skills I personally have is more like just kind of low end, like
Motown kind of hitting the thump sort of thing.
Thumpy stuff that's very basic. So it doesn't do me quite as much good there. But for someone more proficient than me, which is pretty much anyone I could point a finger at.
Right on. So for someone else, this might be the perfect stocking stuffer to get them to get them going.
And that's with bass. It's I mean I may be speaking out of school here, but it's a little bit more limiting with what effects you could throw in a bass without screwing things up. And generally, it's drive and chorus,
fuzz for a lot of guys,
but like you don't want to throw a bunch of delay or like spacey stuff that like
that. I mean, it all depends on the player and your style. I mean, you're playing in a straight up top 40 pop band,
right,
or R&B or funk band, then yeah, you're going to be pretty limited on what you do. And you're right, it is pretty much going to be some sort of drive, a chorus, and maybe a fuzz or a distortion if they're playing some of the heavier
compressor
stuff. Yeah, compressor definitely comes in handy in general with a bassist. But I mean, then there's players like Juan Alderete, who's in Mars Volta, Vato Negro, Deltron's band, and many other projects, and he uses reverbs, delays, synths, all kinds of stuff on bass, and he's an amazing guy. Or Nate from Terramellos, one of my current favorite bands, he uses pitch shifters, drives, all kinds of crazy stuff on his bass, so it just depends what you're playing. But
a Digitac whammy.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, he actually did have a bass whammy on there.
Oh, wow.
Which actually, I'll say, that's another great stocking stuffer. A slightly bigger one and more expensive one, but a bass whammy, the blue one, is pretty rad to a bassist. It'll open their world up for sure. But it all depends on the player and how experimental, how crazy you want to get.
Yeah, that's kind of it though. Like you probably have to do more experimental stuff if you want to get anything other than just compressor, drive, and chorus.
Yeah, true. Or just to try something different. I always say. I mean, like for all the funk guys that I used to do sound for, one of them really opened up his world when he got the Source Audio Manta Ray filter with a hot hand, which is their little ring, which is a wireless expression pedal sort of thing.
Huh.
Yeah, which was, again, these would make more great stocking stuffers that we didn't even bring with us today.
Actually, that's another one you mentioned is filters, I guess.
Yes.
Also pretty useful with bass.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Bootsy Collins, right off the bat, and I mean, there's plenty of other bassists who use Waz filters, but the funk bassist I knew who picked up that Source Audio filters with the hot hand just opened up their world, especially when they could set it like on their thumb and have a filter opening up with the slap was kind of cool. That's
nice.
A pretty neat thing. All stuff you can find on pitbullaudio.com, by the way.
I guess for me the danger comes to like any kind of effect. If it takes the bottom end out of it, I get annoyed.
I could see that, and there is. I mean, there's a reason like say certain big muffs like the Sovtek era are more famous with basses, the tall font Russian ones, because they just had the bass they had the bass presence and mid range that just made them great for low end. So it just depends. There's a lot of stuff out there. The drive tool, the fuzz tool I brought for bass today, Doesn't exactly have all the low end in the world, but it's still a great one. I mean, I mentioned it. Shall we just go to it?
Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna grab a pick. If we're playing a drive, maybe I could do better with a pick.
It's gonna open up when we get to the passive bass that I brought with us today. But we have the $68 bass clone here. Now let's go next in line, which another thing that fuzz or pedal order is a whole another episode we have to do on our own here. But I decided to put the modulation first and then the fuzz. This is the $99.95 Carcosa Fuzz from DoD, which is now owned by Digitech, but it is very cool.
Pretty nasty.
Right? So I'll show people what we got here. The before is the fuzz, traditional fuzz gain control.
You don't even have it close to dimed out yet.
Not even, right? This thing is pretty gnarly. It is named after the city in The King in Yellow, the play about a doomed city. So of course it is going to bring the disease and doom, and I love this thing to death. The reason, so it's not marketed as a bass fuzz, but I am big on the concept that you don't have to get something that says bass effect blank for it to be for bass. And I think that the Carcosa is amazing on guitar, bass, baritones of all sorts. This is a really cool pedal for $99.95. I gotta say that again. The before is your fuzz control. The output is the output of it. It has high cut control, and the after is sort of a bias control. And you have this switch in the middle, which is two locations in Carcosa in the old play or book, and it's Demke and Holly. What it really does is a bass boost or bass cut, and I think I have it in the bass boost right now. So let's hear you dry again. Bass boosted, bass cut. So I like nasty, crazy, sputtery fuzzes on bass. I like it to sound like doom writing to you. And I think this does a pretty good job of it. What's your thoughts on it so far?
Pretty neat. Definitely no lack of juice on this guy.
Right, yeah, I mean, even when it was down here at the bottom, I mean, just turning that on. Right? I think these two sound pretty neat together, and I mean, it's all up to preference. If you like your fuzz before modulation, modulation before fuzz, there really is no wrong way to do it. It's up, if you like the way one sounds better than the other, good for you, keep rolling with it. But I like the way these two sound together. And we'll hear a little bit later on a passive bass what this sounds like. But any thoughts on the combination of the two? I mean, you said you weren't much of a bass chorus guy or much of a bass you're a bass drive guy, but not a bass fuzz guy, right?
I don't even really drives very much either. I'm very kind of old school with bass.
Really?
Just a nice thump, boom, boom, boom. Just something that clicks in with a kick drum, and I'm happy.
Right on. Nice. Okay. So,
But again, I'm primarily a guitar player, so I really haven't played bass in bands that much. Not enough to really experiment that a whole ton.
right on. Well, we still got quite a nice assortment, whether you're into this kind of sound or not, of great bass gifts. A 15, 25, 75 bass right there, German made. That is a steal for a Sandberg. $69.99 for the Radial Stagebug SB2. This is also great for acoustic guitars as well, I have to point out.
Nice.
The Carcosa Fuzz from Digitech DoD.
Also great for acoustic guitars.
Yeah, right, yeah. For $69.95, and the bass clone for $68 from Electro Harmonix to get your Peter hook on. Very cool, all of them. I enjoy them all. Now, shall we move ahead on a couple things here?
Yeah, go for it.
So I have here in my hands what I was jamming on in the opening, the Ball Family Reserve edition of the Stingray Guitars. So the Stingray guitar was my favorite, actually is my favorite guitar of the entire Music Man line. It's a take on the old Sabre from the 70s. It's got, this version right here has an African mahogany body finished in this gorgeous, just natural finish.
So cool.
Look on the back here. Gorgeous. A roasted maple neck and fretboard, which also has black binding on it.
I dig that.
Right? It is
You don't see that too much.
Right? Yeah, not very often. It's popping up here and there. But this is a really cool look. It's also got the gold hardware, so gold pickup covers, and these are proprietary Ernie Ball Music Man pickups right here, humbuckers. The tremolo, including the cover, the control plate knobs, the tremolo bar itself, the switch, not knobs, the strap pins here, all gold, along with the Spertzel locking on the back here. That was pretty neat. I love this thing to death. Let's turn off our toys here to hear this thing on the bridge pickup. I haven't had a humbucker guitar in a few years, so it's kind of nice and refreshing for me to be on some.
You're a P90s
really nice.
mostly right now, guy?
Yeah, P90s right now, and then I have a, on my Ibanez, what is it, a Fast Track 2, which is kind of a single coil size humbucker, but I've been enjoying this.
And that's just the bridge right now?
Yeah, so if you go up and say, do some jazz on the neck pickup there. You know when I can hit the chords right. And quite a nice sound slip between them too. But I've been digging the limited runs that Ernie Ball has been coming up with, and this one right here for just under $2,000, $19.99, is pretty awesome. It's just gorgeous. It just looks like a rad 70s axe.
Yeah, yeah.
It is great. I really have fallen for these things, and even the Sterling version is cool, but this Ball Family Reserve, which is what BFR means, would be a great stocking stuffer for that musician, that guitarist in your life, just looking for a good dual humbucker guitar. And this thing actually gets quite raunchy when you let it scream. Should we just do one of the guitar reveals? Screw it.
Might as well.
So the next one of the guitar reveals we had is the Tube Screamer Mini right here from Ibanez, $79.99. It is your classic Tube Screamer in a more compact form. Tone, level, overdrive, what more do you need, right?
It'll fit in any stocking.
It will fit in any stocking and in any case or gig bag either. love the sound of this thing.
Yeah.
It's just cool looking, it's sounding great, and it has the asymmetrical neck, which for those of you who haven't heard that yet, it means it's thinner on the treble side and thicker on the bass side so you can grip it. But this really is just a killer sounding guitar.
I'm definitely a sucker for the kind of natural look, natural finish guitars, and with the black, black and gold is just super sexy.
I haven't seen black binding in a while on an instrument. A lot of people tend to go for the black binding, white blocks or dots sort of thing, and black dots, black binding, pretty cool. I like this thing a lot. Yeah, this thing is just really meant to be a rock and roll machine.
We got about a minute left before break, I think. Can I get a
Absolutely,
quick hit of that
yeah.
guy?
Totally.
So pretty. Oh no! Nope, she's not pretty no more.
Not anymore, nope.
It just went down to $15.99.
Yeah, there we go, right? Very nice.
Super cool.
But that is a badass instrument. It is $19.99. It is, you won't see these again. This is a limited run for sure, and I think we only got one of these.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know how many they made?
I do not know off the top of my head how many they made. Excuse us, not us at Pitbull Audio, but them at Ernie Ball Music Man. But I mean, I missed out on the Starry Night edition of this, which had that Starry Night finish ebony fretboard. I would regret missing out on this. Check it out at pitbullaudio.com. We'll be back in the next segment with more Christmas goodies.
Stay tuned.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
Welcome back to Sharpen the Axe on EnterTalk Radio, powered by Pitbull Audio. I'm Eric Lucero.
And I'm Paul Berezetsky.
And we got a lot more Christmas stocking stuffers for you guys. Now, in Paul's hands right there is one of my favorites that is pretty new to the shop. It's a company from Brazil called Tajima, or Tajima, excuse me, I think I pronounced it wrong. That is the Woodstock Series TW61 Jazzmaster style. I am a big fan of the offset guitars, so that thing makes me very happy. It's become a shop favorite very quickly. It is a poplar body, maple neck and fretboard, two P90s, single volume, single tone, a three-way, and a Veritone switch.
Yeah, let's try it clean first.
Oh yeah, sure.
So what exactly does a Veritone do?
The Veritone has different capacitors in it. I believe it is the capacitors that do this job that give it different EQ sweeps or cuts that create different EQ maps. So different voicings, essentially.
So it seems like this one is kind of like the most clear.
The most thin, the most single coily, and those are a bit more full and P90-ish, yeah. So you were liking this guitar definitely before we started the show while checking it out.
Yeah, I like the neck. I like it's set up really nice. The intonated really nice.
Which, yeah, I don't know if it came out the box or if it was done by our tech Sean Hutchinson of Hutchinsons, who is the resident tech at Pitbull Audio. But that is a great, great instrument. I mean,
if it is out of the box, it's very impressive because these things are what, like $240?
$239.80. That is a brand new guitar for $239.80. This thing is killer for that price. Add some drive to it.
Yeah. This really gives you a lot of options with a baritone switch.
It is a 5-position baritone switch with 3 positions with between the pickups. So. Very nice. So what's your impression of the sound of it with a baritone? Have you ever tried a baritone or anything? I know they come on some Gibson ES 335s, I think, or 345s.
I don't think I ever tried any Gibson ones.
No?
Maybe... I don't know. Maybe it was on some guitar that I tried out where I wasn't quite sure what it was that I was that I was tweaking.
Trying, yeah.
How many positions is this? Like
5 positions, including the bypass when they're just normal, which is where you're at.
Up here is bypass?
Oh, no, down, all the way.
This is bypass.
Yeah. Those last two seem right up your alley in terms of what you usually play.
Yeah. It stays in tune really well.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know you don't have the bar on you, but if you could try the... Yeah. Stayed in tune pretty well after just a little bit of that minor whammy work.
It is really hard to find a $200 guitar that stays in tune.
That is a bit of a challenge, and I mean, you could have one right under your Christmas tree or strapped awkwardly to your fireplace for a Christmas morning.
with a stocking stuck in there.
With a giant stocking, but the Tajima Woodstock Series TW61 is a killer. It comes in rosewood fretboard too. It is a rad guitar.
I like the finish on the neck. Cool guitar.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you want some sanded neck, you can just take some 180 grit sandpaper to that and just have a good time. Let's try something a little different with it. So we'll do another reveal. We are going to check out the Walrus Audio Julia Chorus. So this has been an absolute runaway hit.
Hi, Julia.
And we got controls for rate, depth, lag, which is the delay time of the LFO that creates the effect. And this knob down here goes between dry, chorus, and vibrato. So this would be completely dry, chorus, and then fully wet vibrato. So let's put it at chorus for now. What's your thoughts on the Julia so far?
Pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let me hear it with some drive, maybe.
Sure, yeah. So I have to admit, I've been after a chorus for quite a while, and there's been a number of options out there, and for whatever reasons, I kind of ignored the Julia. So the Boss came out with the Waza Craft, which I kind of liked, but I had to take some convincing from friends to look at the Julia, and I have been kind of loving this thing, especially since there's no mini toggle, but a blend sort of knob going from dry to full-on wet vibrato, so you can set exactly where you want. But it's sounding pretty gorgeous. I like this thing a lot. And you don't use a lot of modulation, though, do you?
I've been getting into chorus more lately.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So would you consider this a contender?
Sure. Yeah. It's got a bit of a unique voice to it. It's not kind of typical sort of whatever JC 120 kind of chorus. It's got a little bit more, I don't know.
A little bit more weirdness to it as just what it is as a whole, but
Yeah.
I have been kind of liking this thing, right?
Yeah.
I just gotta hear it completely wet with maximum lag on. Let's do that. Just to show what the lag control can do. Very nice. Very nice, very cool sounding. And the Julia can be yours or to a loved one for Christmas morning for $199. And I think for a versatile chorus with a pretty good amount of options on there, that's a pretty neat Christmas morning gift. So basically for like less than $600, you could get a Tajima guitar and a chorus.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty much, yeah. Or less than 500, I should say, pretty much.
Or the tube screamer.
Yeah. That mid-range bump we all know and love.
Yep. It's such a small footprint on there.
Right? It actually isn't even much bigger than the can of fast fret we have here, which is our next item up, which I'll show this one right here. So what fast fret is, you've been using this
Oh, this
stuff,
thing
haven't you?
changed my life.
So GHS fast fret is a string lubricant and cleaner. It comes in this little applicator right here. It's just built right into that stick, and it cleans grime and dirt off of your strings and lubricates them, and also helps with your fretboard a little, I hear, as a conditioner. So you just rub this on your strings all the way up and down, and then wipe the excess off with the little rag here that comes with it, and you're good to go. And I have to say, I use it quite often, and I love this stuff.
It really
has been killing it for
extends
me.
the life of your string. So I don't wait for my strings to get cruddy to use it. I do it on new strings. I do this at the beginning of every gig, essentially.
Yeah, same here.
At the beginning of every gig and every set break, because I used, in a bar gig or whatever, like you start sweating all over your guitar, all over your strings. They'll get corroded on you in a night easily. This stuff just kind of just stops that process.
GHS Fast Fret, it's yours for $7.99. It's an easy, great stocking stuffer.
That's a really good stuffer.
And really for this and a pack of strings, it's like less than 20 bucks, which is a nice little thing for a musician to get.
The only point of warning on that, it's been extending the life of my strings so well, where I'll go into a gig thinking that, like, I think I can get through it. I don't need to change strings. These are still pretty smooth. And then I end up breaking one because I've been bashing on them for a gig or two, and they seem like they're brand new, but from the bends and all the fretting, they could wear out. So sometimes I tend to break a string because I think they're fresher than they are. But as far as playability, it's awesome, and it also lubricates them so like your playing is just smoother. You could do easier the slides moving up and down the neck. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's an absolute benefit. Again, it's kind of like the Tube Screamer here or the Radial, in that it all fits in a gig bag or hard case. It's something that is a gift that keeps on giving and moves with a musician. So it's a pretty neat little product to get, and $7.99. Yeah, but what can it be? We have tons of them at Pitbull Audio. Please come in if you're in the San Diego area. Come check this stuff out, try it out. Bring that person that you want to buy it for and say, hey, do you like anything here?
It easily doubles the life of your strings, and a set of strings is like $8 usually.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so for the price of a pack of strings, you basically get several packs of strings worth of life out of it.
Right. And it's not just for electric guitarists, acoustic guitars, classicals as well, if you want to use them, or bassists. And I'm also sure that the bassists at this point are going, oh, that's all cool guitar stuff.
Nah.
You had one bass and some pedals earlier. What about us? Well, I got something for you guys. And it's one of my favorites right here. This is a cool version of it. Look at this. Look at this right here. This is a G&L Guitars SB2 in Black Frost. This is a pretty cool bass. It's $599.99, a great stocking stuffer. And if I had to pull a bass off the wall for a gig quick, I would go with the SB2s for sure. It is alder body, maple neck, rosewood fretboard, 34-inch scale. It's got the MFD pickups, a single coil and a split coil here, and 2 volumes. It is a straight ahead rock machine. So this is with both volumes up. So that's both of them up. This is just the P bass pickup right here. And the J bass pickup right here. Just a fat sounding bass, just a rock machine. But I mean, if you do want to get a little smoother on it, it can still do some good jazz lines.
Now, that thing only has volume knobs on it, no tone control?
No tone, just a pair of volumes. I've actually found it, as I was just playing there, the P bass rolled back just a little bit. Where you kind of hear it where it starts to honk. For the picking style of stuff I like to do is kind of great. In fact, let's hear it with just a little bit of that fuzz on there.
sounding.
So we're hearing right away just how different the passive pickups here sound rather than the active pickups that came out the Sandberg into the Carcosa. I mean, this thing just opened up and just got aggressive, absolutely aggressive with the passive pickups here. I mean,
And which pickup are you running for both of them? Which pickup are you?
just the P bass pickup right here, and I'll switch it and just do the J bass pickup. Do you have that doom musician in your life that's just needing some low-end aggression? For about $700, you can get a bass and a fuzz that'll knock his socks off.
He could get
For
his
another $70, he gets his direct box.
He could get some really, really complex emotions out through this combination.
Or just blow ears away all day and night long. Whatever his or her little heart desires. Now let's hear this passive through some bass clone. With the P bass rolled back just to where I like it. Sorry, I had to open up to Black Sabbath there with just some open knees at the end. But this bass just sounds killer no matter what you do with it. If you want to get a cleaner and get that sort of jazzy sound with it, like I said, you can. Just rolling down the volumes, maybe making the P a little bit more predominant. So I mean, if you were needed to pick up a bass at quickly, you know, without spending a ton of money, how would you feel about the SB2 here for covering your ground?
Definitely. I mean, I love G&L stuff.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
And this is such a cool bass in this new matte black frost finish. And I've really fallen for this thing. We had a 5-string version too up. I don't know if it's gotten a home yet, but again, $599.99. You're crazy not to take this thing.
Mm-hmm. And I do like passive basses. I like, again, with bass, I'm super simple. I like,
That's right, yeah.
4 strings, passive pickups. I'm a little bit more of a jazz guy than a P bass fan, but Yeah.
But I mean, you got best of both worlds really on here.
Yeah.
So, any favorites amongst the Christmas stocking stuffers that I have brought today?
Tube Screamer is always good for a laugh, and this Fuzz I think has really been the standout one for me. Just super aggressive, very very doomy, and nice to see DoD stuff putting things out.
Right. And DoD was a company that was mostly prevalent in the end of the 80s. And
My first pedal was a DoD.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, a lot of people had the FX65 or whatever number was after that. But yeah, the 80s into the 90s. And I remember them even in the early 2000s still being a popular name. But they made all kinds, of great stuff. Some that are valuable classics now and copied in many ways. But Digitech bought them out, brought them back, and even made some new designs like the Carcosa with them. And this has definitely been a standout for me. I love this thing to death.
And I'm a big fan of Electro Harmonix as well.
True, very classic name. They still keep making great stuff and improving on their old designs, as in the case of the bass clone, which is a clone bass version of the Clone Theory.
The thing I really like about Electro Harmonix is, to my ear, whatever they make, the effect is never at the expense of the tone that's going through it. So even if it's whatever, a phase, a chorus, like I was saying before with basses, like if I have a modulation effect, but it comes at the expense of the tone, if the bottom end drops out, that drives me nuts. And the thing that they seem to really pay attention to is to whatever the underlying tone that you're modulating is not really compromised.
Right. Yeah. That you want your instrument's signal to still pass through it just as strong without getting colored out of the way.
Exactly.
Which is definitely a desirable thing in effects, and Electro Harmonix has done that well. And I mean, they're improving on their old designs, even bringing them into the current tonal world. Yeah.
Because it's really not that hard to throw together some kind of gizmo that makes a trippy sound. The trick to it is to make a trippy sound without compromising the tone.
Or at least, I mean, thankfully, there is stuff like clean blends now, say for a lot of, like the bass side especially, and I'm starting to see this migrate to a lot of the guitar pedals, where you can blend in your clean sound. Petty John has made great use of that, as has T-Rex, with bringing in allowing you to blend in your clean signal, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of more stocking stuffers available. If you go to the pitbullaudio.com, our website, on the main banner right up top, there's the gift cards and then the holiday gift guide. I myself curated the bass and guitar categories, so go check them out. Plenty of great gift ideas there, from inexpensive to some great limited stuff like the BFR back there or the Sandberg.
Someone's been a really good boy or girl.
Yeah, right. And by the way, if you happen to be watching Ernie Ball Music Man, that's on my Christmas list. I love that thing. And GNL, if you're listening, hey, how's it going? This or a Doheny, love them. What's on your Christmas list?
Coal. I just want coal. I just like to burn things.
Yeah, to hell with central heating or air. I just want coal.
I just want to reduce my electrical bill.
I'm gonna get you a bum trash can for a trash fryer for Christmas. That's what we're doing.
Sure.
Thank you very much for joining us for this holiday stocking stuffers episode of Sharpen the Axe. I'm Eric Lucero.
I'm Paul Berezetsky.
We'll see you next time. Go to pitbullaudio.com to check all these out.